The fashion industry hates men who are tall, big, and not skinny. It's hard to understand how a society that encourages these hyper-masculine standard body types in men turn around and refuse to make clothes that actually fit the men they want everybody to be. I actually am so comfortable on camera. I think the biggest problem that I have with YouTube is that I don't like people knowing my business. But oversharing is what gets the views. Hello, it's Arisave here. Please get nice and comfortable and lock your phones. You're probably watching on your phone, so that makes no sense. Don't lock your phones. I have a $200 sewing machine that I have absolutely no idea how to use. And like any sane and rational person with no self-preservation skills, I don't plan on reading the manual. As many of you or none of you may know, this channel is dedicated to documenting my eventual rise to stardom, not just as a recording artist, but an artist in general. Since I was little, I have been doing visual programs and have always been interested in fashion and design, so this is really a full circle moment. These lights are hot. You may be asking yourself before you click off this video, how does any of this relate to music? Great question, my beautiful you people. A large part of what makes music doesn't just pertain to sound. Personal style is also fundamental in the branding of artists and what it means to have self-expression. It's so important, in fact, that labels dedicate entire sections and portions of their budget to visuals and style, because visuals and personal style are a large part of media and what it means to be consumed in this era. Chapter 2, War on Men's Waistline. I wish I could say I was one of those people who learned designing clothes purely out of passion and not necessity. But unfortunately, anybody who doesn't fit into a very narrow body ratio is subject to ostracization by means of the clothing rack. As the saying goes, the nail that sticks out gets hammered. Personal measurements actually used to be a norm in making clothes, but after World War II, standardizing became more popular, which came with very narrow and uniform means of measuring for clothes, making it less individualized and more standard and streamlined for manufacturing processes. Cheapo. And for a 6'3", 270-pound man, you can imagine that the big and tall section of the department stores aren't necessarily brimming with fashionable and amazing pieces, much like the florals and flowy pandemic plaguing the women's maternity section. Ooh. Given my voluptuous and very tall frame, normal off-the-rack clothes don't flatter people with my body type. While I could go the high-end fashion route to find pieces that are flattering and well-made, we have a very limited budget, and by limited I mean non-existent, over at the production studio, aka my room. Since I don't see myself becoming a Dior ambassador anytime soon, or fashion changing to include my body type, we will just have to master sewing and make the things we want to see ourselves. Chapter 3, put a name to fabric. Since we will be spending a lot of our time together, I think it's only fair to give my sewing machine a name. The good old time I got reincarnated as the slime style. The name I've come up with is Sigourney Weaver Heavy Duty. Now that we have the naming ceremony out of the way, it's time we actually do the setup. Anyone who watched the train wreck that was my first video will recognize the space that my sewing machine will call home. I wanted to start this video off by paying respect to our fallen homie Joanne fabric store, where I got all my starter supplies for 30% off. And now I'm going to do a little mini haul just to show everybody, all 14 of you, where I got my stuff. So first I bought, am I in frame? Yep, I'm in frame. So I bought this fabric cutting set because Joanne was cleared out. There were no scissors. Of course there was no black or white thread, because I knew the primaries were going to be gone, and most people sew with like black and white. That's kind of like the standard in sewing, so I knew those were going to be gone. I knew the scissors were probably going to be gone, and they were. So I got this for like $64, and it comes with a cutting mat. Let me just unbox it as I do it, because that's the first rule of, oops. That's the first rule of filming. You're supposed to show, not tell. So, the first and main thing that I really needed was a cutting mat slash self-healing mat. This is essentially what is used in like cutting fabric and when you do like your drafting. So this is the first thing that we are going to actually put on the sewing table. So I'm probably going to edit this part out with good old YouTube movie magic, but who knows, I might leave it in just because people like the authenticity, or so I've been told. So we got our self-healing mat. We got, this is empty. We got our ruler, which, yeah, it's a ruler. Nothing special. I just hit my sewing machine. Oh, and one of the other important things, a rotary cutter. This was extremely important. So, I saw one, I almost bought one that was like individual, and that one was going to be like $30. So, when I saw the set that had like 3 of the things that I needed all in one, I was super happy. So, we got our cutter. Okay, so next, I bought muslin. So, muslin is like a linen, any kind of like thin linen fabric that you use for drafting. And since I am starting, I wanted to get a whole like roll of it. A bundle. What do you call like the cardboard fabric on it? It's like a bundle of fabric or something, I think. And this is linen blend. It's white linen. It's 85 viscose and 15% linen, and it is 8 yards. I don't think it was fully 8 yards, and it's $12.99 a yard, but it was on sale, so I think it was like 30% off. So I didn't pay like $100 or anything like that. I paid like $76, I think, which was like a good deal for me because I feel like it's something I'm going to use a lot of. I also got the tomato. Okay, is it? It's not focusing. I got the tomato. Everybody knows what the tomato is. And then I also got thread. So one of the main threads that I'm going to be using is red because I want to be able to see those stitch work just for when I'm starting. And I also bought a hole puncher, I think. I'm not really sure what this is. It's not in English. I think this is like for like buttons. I'm gonna have to Google what this is for. And then I got the most important thing, a measuring tape, which is pretty important. And then I got push pins and needles. So yeah, that's not everything, but I feel like that's the most important things. Now that we got all that out the way, we can actually start with the setup process. And now we're gonna actually open this first because I need somewhere to put the pedal. My room is so cluttered right now, and that is. So first we start with actually plugging in the machine. Okay, I wanted to do this sooner, but I was like, let me just post it because this is the actual start of the process. So I figured I should just share it. Oops. What is that? Ugh. I'm already dropping stuff. What? Okay. So we got it plugged in. Now I'm going to remove this paper. I don't have real cutting scissors, so I'm just going to use kitchen scissors, which are very dull. Okay, so that's how we do that. Let's just turn it on to see if it works. Ooh. It's kind of like driving. Okay, let's turn it off so we don't impale ourselves. Okay, let's take this paper off. And we're going to... Okay, that's how you do it. I was trying to figure out how to lift this for the longest, but I figured it out. Yay! Okay, we got that done. It all starts with the needle, or rather, one of the greatest inventions to mankind since, like, fire. So, pedal. Okay. The needle's job is to insert the thread through fabric to actually make a stitch. The foot pedal is what we already know. Powers the needle of the sewing machine, and it makes the sewing needle go up and down to start sewing into the fabric. Short story, but I used to think that I had to like pedal the sewing machine kind of like a bike to make it work. Located at the top of the thread on the spool, like from Sleeping Beauty. So this is the top thread. I hope this is... Yeah, everything's getting recorded. So this top thread. It came with... This is the bobbin. And this came with this on here. And we're not using that. We're actually using red. Because this is the color that I will use to draft. How do I get this out? Okay, so that's how we do that. And then we just put this in here. And then we just lock it in. Easy enough. So I saw a video about how to... Okay, so we need a fresh bobbin. Because the two we have are full, which I don't understand why they're full, but they are full. So I think we start. This is not a tutorial video because I am not an expert and I don't know what I'm doing. So it would be bad to make this like a tutorial video because I don't know what I'm doing. So I think I'm supposed to put this through. So I just spent like the last 30 minutes trying to figure out how to thread my sewing machine. And I also realized that the last like 15 to 20 minutes of the video did not record, so that's fun. As well as my sewing machine, my equipment is now turning on me as well, which is always fun. So I just wanted to show everyone what I had gotten done so far in my attempts at... I keep moving it. My attempts at essentially trying to thread my sewing machine and it failing. And don't laugh at me, but I This was a very like bad first try at sewing, but I'm still going to upload this because one of my favorite YouTubers that I watch, they always say that even bad art deserves to be published, and I feel like even though this video is definitely not going to be like as pristine and, you know, professional as I wanted it to be, it's still going to be important because we all start somewhere. So just, this is my attempt at sewing. It did not go very well. I don't know what the issue was, and I'm probably gonna have to watch a bunch of videos to figure out why it just was not working, and I'll like attempt and retry to get everything to work the way that I want it to. What's the word? It was an honest first attempt. It didn't go super well. Okay, so this is like very random, but let me fix the mic. But I figured out what was wrong with the sewing machine. Of course, it was me being stupid. So the reason that it wasn't like working like it was supposed to is because I did not pull like a lever that put down the surge protector, and when the surge protector isn't down, it causes the thread to like bunch up and ravel. And yeah, that was why you should read the manual. Don't do what I do. But so I ended up putting this little lever back here down, which is in control of the surge stopper. So right here, this is it. This is what I was talking about earlier, and this is it up when the lever is up, and then to put it down, you hit the lever, and then it hits the thing, and then so it secures the fabric, and it allows you to sew without the thread doing all of this. And mind you, I discovered all of this while in my underwear. I put my bonnet back on and everything because I was so over it. But I ended up actually getting a clean thread, and it didn't bunch or nothing. And I'm like so happy about this. I'm so happy about this little crooked thread because it is everything. So I feel like it was a success given the fact that I was actually able to sew something. I mended 2 pieces together, which is really fun. And my battery is about to die, so this is the end of the first episode of the music between the seams. Okay, goodbye.